Assalamu alaikum, Nazrin. We are here to commemorate or tribute to our dear friend who passed last week. His name was Khalil Alawan, known as Chuck. And at this point, I would like to take the permission with the guest, our distinguished guest who's here, to read this press release which Islamic Council on Scouting Public Relations Department released this morning. Press release for immediate special memorial program honoring the life and contribution of Khalil Alawan, pioneer to Islamic work and Muslim scouting in America. Brother Khalil Alawan, better known in the community as Chuck, died Wednesday, February 26, 2014, after a long struggle with various health issues. An engineer by training and decorated Army veteran, he was a pioneer in Islamic work in America, an interfaith leader dating back to the early 1950s. He was a founder and driving force of what would become the Islamic Center of America, located in Dearborn, Michigan, and has become a destination for understanding American Muslims. He also helped launch the Islamic House of Wisdom in Dearborn Heights and was co-founder of Islamic Religious Movement for Scouts in the name of Allah. Assalamu alaikum. जी कौन सा बोले जी जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम एहतशाम नकवी वतन से दूर हम वतनों के साथ ट्रिब्यूट टू चक अलवान कौन सा बोले
This is Dr. Sakhaut Saab.
लामा साहब
Yes, I want to welcome all of you. I want to say salam to yourself.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम व रहमतुल्लाह.
And Brother Safed.
Thank you.
Abid.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your presence, all three brothers, to this program. This program is very interesting. I have with me Brother Javed Hussain, Brother Khawarli Khabri, and Dr. Naqvi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Present our gratitude to Khalil Alwan, and also we want to encourage you, Al-Haj Ehtesham Naqvi, and we want to thank Dr. Dawood Asad and Brother Safed Abid Koldova. I hope your program for the foreigners will be very popular, and may Allah bless you all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Allama Sahab. Dear viewer, we was talking to Allama Dr. Sakhawat Hussain Sandaralvi, the chairman and founder of the Al-Mahdi TV and Al-Mahdi Foundation. And his encouragement to us is very highly appreciated. And inshallah, through the Al-Mahdi TV and Watan Se Dur Hum Watanon Ke Saath program, we'll bring more guests from the intra-faith and interfaith in this program. Let me continue this press release which we stopped. Brother Chuck Alawan, he also helped launch a Islamic House of Wisdom in Dearborn Heights, where, if our viewers must remember, Imam Shiri, that was the first mosque in Dearborn, Michigan. And Brother Khalil Alawan is a pioneer for the Islamic religious emblem for Scouts, which Brother Safed is showing this one. This is the official emblem of the Boy Scouts of America. And as you know, the Boy Scouts of America is a national organization, and no one can wear any medals or badge unless this is approved. And the Islamic Council on Scouting is a custodian of these emblems. This one medal was in a heritage from the Brother Khalil Alawan, and we carrying these medals After few years, we created the Bismillah Award for the Cub Scout, which also recognized by the Boy Scouts of America. Then for the leaders, we have created the Allahu Akbar emblems, which is you can see the brother Safet is wearing that one. He received this award in the last Jamboree. And brother Daud Asad is also we are honored to have you, and you had this medal in our 1987 5th year celebration in the United Nations with Ambassador Silla.
Yes.
And of course this program is for the encouragement for the community and bring the togetherness with the other faith, because in the Boy Scouts of America every faith has their religious emblem, and thanks to God that we also properly recognized by the Boy Scouts of America. And it's not only that we get the recognition, but we are getting their services. For example, when we go for the summer camp, when we go for the Scout Jamboree, we get the halal food, Zabiya, and we get the Taraweeh programs, we get the 5 times prayer, we have our mosque place, we have the inflatable mosque. And it's not only the Boy Scouts of America encourage the committee, but they making efforts that we should be representing in the world also. In the 2010 100-year celebration, we have the big PR work in Virginia.
Yes.
And then 2011 we have the World Jamboree in Sweden. I have the honor to be present there, and there was 8,000 Muslim scouts, whereas the total number of these scouts was 48,000. And we provided the Taraweeh, full-time Taraweeh, and we provided the Aftar. And the beauty of this program was that during the daytime we are fasting, and our peers was with us, the group, and they are asking each other, why you're not eating? And here is a Dawa program. They says this. And then they come to the camp, and they're sitting, and when the kids offering the refreshment, they says, why you are giving? Because you are fasting, and so they explain. They said, no, we are going to fast too. So second day, the boys and girls both, they're fasting with it. So first day we have the 200, for example, 300 youth in the iftar table. The next day was a 500 because there was other people. The total scouts for the Muslims 8,000 in the World Jamboree, and later on we got the invitation from the Holland. Now the next year 2015. We have the full commitment and full invitation for the Japan to go to serve the Muslims. Now go back to the Chuck Alwan, because this is his views that we should have the scouting program with the label of the Islamic, but it doesn't mean that we are not part of the Boy Scouts of America. We are the part of the Boy Scouts of America. They are the charter. We are going to talk about how to get the charter from the Boy Scouts of America in your Islamic center or Imam Bargas or Masjid. Let's go back to the Chuck Alwan, and I wanted to ask your opinion. You was very close, and he never mentioned about his faith or something except he's Muslim. And after running out the 35 years, almost all my double their half I spent in this country. In Pakistan we never had this problem, but now we see back home there's a fight between the Muslims. But the program of the Messenger of Peace, which the Boy Scouts, World Boy Scouts have introduced, is a wonderful program. Every Scout who is doing the interfaith program, who is friends of the other faith, other believer, they are the messenger of peace.
Yes.
Those who is stopping the violence on the street, they are messenger of peace. So this is a wonderful program. So can you explain a little bit more?
Well,
what we can do together for the Islamic scouting?
Well, I think you said it all in here, but I would say to encourage our youth, especially nowadays, I would like to also propose maybe to find some kind of a scholarship as a legacy for Brother Chuck Alwan, to increase, to encourage our youth to know for themselves, to say, well, look, we also have a nice scholarship and a nice legacy for scouting, not only the other faith also. But I found out, that Chuck Alwan, I never forget his face when he used to come to FIA, Federation of Islamic Association, in the 1950s, and he asked every organization in that FIA Federation to be a scout. And in fact, I remember he had a program how to get that eagle and how to get that in the name of Allah award. And he wasn't sure about the material. He used to bring it to Dr. Raouf in Islamic Center of New York, and we increased it and we changed it. I remember draft after draft after draft in there, till finally we have it set up. What are the rules? And I happen to have just two things I want to show the audience. Number one, we do have, here is the picture about one of our brothers' youth. His name is Brother Mayasi, Sami Mayasi. He is getting that award. And you see here Dr. Muhammad Abdul Raouf. He used to be the director of the Islamic Center of 72nd Street and One Riverside Drive. And the other one, Sheikh Khalil Husari, the reciter, the famous reciter of the Quran in Egypt. And myself giving our brother Mayasi the Eagle Award. And also for Chuck Alwani here, I have a book here. I have a picture for him in one of those meetings and jamborees meeting, Chuck Alwan, with one of our also a young man who is, his name is Hussam. He's the son of Dr. Osman Ahmed in New Jersey. So you see our boys in here are encouraging and are supporting this movement. And as I said here, not only just for America, the scouting, I know a lot of organizations is taking place overseas too, So, and this and with the jamboree making together from overseas and blending with the West and so forth, this is actually, I consider this like propagation of Islam.
I'm very close to the number, but is like 65% of the total population of the scouting is from the Muslim countries.
I think yes, you're right. Yes. See, so I'm saying not only concept only for other faith, but we encourage that. We also Muslims, and I think this will make our youth proud to see, especially nowadays when you see their big mosques and big schools and having in almost the big schools having either a Cub Scout or a Boy Scout of America and so forth, and this will actually, to me, number one, propagation for Islam, to see that Islam is not a strange religion, but it is a continuation of, it's one of the three monotheistic religions, which are Judaism and Christianity and Islam. And I fully heartedly, would like to support this movement, and I'll do my best in here to have some kind of perpetual charity or scholarship for our young people, youth, who will compete to get this in especially if you read the topics about, write the topics about scouting.
But Dawood, I am really flattered because the way you wanted to remember our pioneer is really something which I cannot explain to you. Yes, I will do my best to accomplish his dream and your dream. And if you are ready, I will ask Brother Safed, because this is a religious relationship committee. He is head of that. Take the responsibility and form the committee, and I have no problem to get the approval from this
then I will
council.
commit myself here to help you out in this to achieve it, because this is the best thing we can do as a legacy for our brother Chuck Alwan, so that his family knows and his young people and the other community that we are taking care of our youth, and we are continuing the legacy that Chuck Alwan started. Inshallah,
I mean, it's amazing for me that when he started this work in the 1950s and early 1960s, of the scouting program and work within Muslim scouting within the communities. There was just a handful of people involved, and now, alhamdulillah, officially, according to Boy Scout national statistics, there's over 102 Boy Scout troops or packs around the country, and that's the statistics that are captured. In order for a troop to come into existence or pack, it has to be chartered by a religious organization or some sort of a non-profit organization as a general rule. Mm-hmm. And so this figure of 102 actually represents 102 masajids or mosques, Islamic institutions that have formally chartered troops. It does not include many of the educational institutions that we have, Muslim educational institutions like full-time Islamic schools that are not captured by these statistics. And there is at least 2,000 scouts that are registered in these 102 Muslim scouts within these 102 units. Although there are many Muslim scouts that are parts of that are scouting members of other units that are not necessarily formally Muslim units. So I mean, subhanAllah, we've come a long way, and the seeds which are planted by Brother Alawani and those that were with him and within the Federation of Islamic Associations are now bearing fruits. And it would be a wonderful legacy to continue to remember. As I said, we live in moments these days, or we live in the moment, they say, but in fact the moments are connected to moments that came before, and hours and days and years. We stand tall because we stand on the shoulders of others who came before us and who pioneered the way, and we have to really give recognition to that. So I'm all for, and I will inshallah try to work with establishing a task force within the Religious Emblems Committee to develop some sort of a patch and some sort of a protocol for establishing a scholarship of some sort of perpetual charity, as you said, Sadaqah Jariyah, in the name of Chuck Alwan and the efforts that he did with Islamic scouting. If we don't succeed with our youth, we lose our future.
True.
And there are many places in the world where we can go and visit and see the structures, Muslim structures and edifices of beautiful houses of learning and mosques, etc., that are no longer populated by Muslim populations. You can go to Spain, Andalusia, and other places and see they're gone. And you ask yourself the question, where is the continuity? And we need to continue to develop our youth going forward, especially at the critical teenage years, when many of our Islamic institutions do not provide some sort of a training program and a character development program. Because as I mentioned, up to the age of 11 or 12, we see our mosque populated, even the weekend schools, and tremendously good efforts and sincere efforts done by members of the community. But after that, somehow the youth disappear into the larger framework of the society, into the world of internet, where they're detached and disconnected from the natural world which we're all a part of, which we came from ultimately. We came from the earth as children of Adam, from Turab, and we will return to that earth. It is through that earth that we are able to gain our strength, our courage, our health, our well-being, physical and spiritual, that we need to sort of reconnect to. Scouting provides a good avenue for this to happen, and I think the vision of Brother Alawani and others needs to be continued to be built on, and we need to formalize it in this way. So definitely I will try to work what little I can with regard to Religious Emblems Committee of the National Islamic Committee on Scouting to develop these protocols and develop some sort of a mechanism by which we can provide this continuing charity in the name.
Right. One mechanism we can do, Brother Safwat, is and Brother Ehtesham, is to actually bring this concept to our big organizations in their big conferences like ICNA, I mean, big things. We have to talk about it, and we should provide us maybe with some kind of brochure about what we're talking about now, so people will understand what we are, what we aim as, and then, if, as I can say, if there is a will, there is a way, and inshallah we have the will, so we will have the way, and God is always will help us in that. But we should propagate this in different, in bigger gatherings also, not only just mosques and centers, but in our annual conferences and conventions, inshallah.
Yes. Dear viewer, as you are watching that we are discussing about the Khalil Alawan Chak, who was the pioneer of the In the Name of Allah medals, and later on the Islamic Council was established to be a custodian of this medal and plus some other medals, and continue the bridge making with the Muslim community and the Boy Scouts of America. Daud Asad is well known to the Muslim community, and from the day one he is with us, and God bless him, he will continue his presence all the time. And I noticed that two books, and you are the writer also.
Yes.
And both books you have mentioned about the scouting.
Exactly.
God bless you. God bless you. And I believe this Arabic one for the Sheikh Alama, the Dr. Sakhawat, and English for me. Thank you. I accept on his behalf. And yes. And this is
Rising.
for Alama is in Arabic because he knows the Arabic. I don't know the Arabic. But I will accept on behalf of Alama, Dr. Sakhawat.
Death and Mumasir, matters and destiny.
Yeah,
I mean,
why not you give from here on the, he's watching the program. Give to Allama Sakhawat, who is the chairman of this program.
Okay, well, I will give you this as a gift. May Allah bless you, and may Allah enabling you to read this and give me your recordedness, because this is about Jerusalem, about Palestine, the lost paradise. Palestine is not only for the Palestinians, not only for the Arabs, but all the Muslims. So I hope and pray that you read this book and publicize it, and then I'll be more than happy to give to anybody who needs it. Just ask me, and it says here where to order it from. Thank you very much.
And you promised me the Sahih Bukhari also. Complete set. I'm going to take it. Thank you very much. Brother Safed, since our viewer is watching and is going to be continuously replay several months, could you please explain, if I'm the Islamic Center, or I am the Imam Barga, or I am the mosque, how I can start the scouting program? What is a shortcut and what is the best?
Best thing you can do is, if you have several committed adult leaders within the community, they don't necessarily have to be professional scouters themselves, but are just interested in youth development, and they form the core or the nexus of this committee. They can organize themselves and go and speak to the leadership of the community. Maybe some of them are of the leadership of the community, and say we're interested in pursuing a scouting program. Then the next step is, using their zip code, they can go to the BSA national website. You can just Google it, and using their zip code of their area, they'll be able to locate what's called the local council. Local council will is responsible for organizing and providing assistance and support to troops and troop formation and to scouts in the area, in the geographical area. So they go to the local council and make an appointment, sit down and meet with them and talk with them. This is what we're interested to do. We're representing this community from this particular mosque, and they will provide them the details of how to go ahead in terms of getting necessary trainings and certifications in an expedited way. A lot of this stuff can be done online, but the important thing is the commitment of several members of the community, and that the community itself, the mosque, will take ownership of the troop, or by entering into a relationship with the local council, known as a chartering relationship, in which they agree to implement the aspects of the Boy Scout program. Now, I was not a scouter as a young man. I came to scouting later in life. But I can tell you, it's really a very user-friendly program, and it does not require someone to have extensive experience, let's say, even in the outdoors or camping or other types of activities. They have a very useful book called the Boy Scout Handbook, and the council is very able to train and develop adult training programs for the community leaders so that they can quickly implement a program of scouting amongst their troop. From the National Islamic Committee on Scouting, what we tried to provide is to provide resources and information, including the religious emblems that we offer for scouts to pursue in terms of fulfilling the requirement of a scout being reverent. That's the 12th point of the scout law. But we try to provide some sort of Islamic guidance where necessary and act as an interlocutor and maybe sometimes as a troubleshooter with regard to troops and their local councils, or at the national level to assist them, for example, with halal issues at summer camp and overnight camping programs and so on and so forth, and to provide information to both the council members as well as to the members of the Muslim community as how maybe they can interact in a more constructive way for the development of the troop. Form a committee, several people who are interested in scouting and interested in this youth development program for their boys. Meet with the local council, get the support of your mosque leadership, and go ahead and enter the program. And inshallah, before you know it, you will have an established functional troop. And once again, you need not be an expert. I wasn't a scouter as a young person. The program is very hands-on, and it allows the boys to quickly develop leadership roles amongst themselves. Scouting is designed to be a boy-led program, and it really is a successful program. I've seen amazing results of scouts facing all different young Muslim boys facing all different types of challenges, that through the scouting program they're able to wrestle and to conquer and to meet these challenges in different ways, learning how to deal in a socially positive and constructive way with fellow scouts, with adult leaders, and learning different types of skills, and as well connecting to the outdoors. There's an interesting book out, and I'll just finish with this, by Richard Loeb. It's called Last Boy in the Woods, and he speaks about a syndrome that all people seem to be facing these days, and he calls it NDD, Nature Deficit Disorder. We become disconnected as human beings, he argues, and as people who are living in the cities and living in our cyber worlds and connected through the internet and through the computer all the time. We become disconnected from the natural world which we were a part of before. And if you look, there's a tremendous amount of psychological sicknesses, physical sicknesses that are haunting many of our members of our communities. And he advocates for getting out into nature, and scouting is a program to return and reconnect us to that natural world, which will make us healthier physically, mentally, and spiritually, and allow us to reconnect, of course, to the one who provides all of this nature for us, and that is Allah, the Creator.
Safed, I noticed that you have a very interesting patch. Could you explain about this patch? It says Isna.
Yes, the Islamic Society of North America is one of the major, probably national Muslim umbrella organizations, and it has been a partner through the National Islamic Committee on Scouting
from the day one.
From the day one, with as a support for the BSA national programs in terms of encouraging the development of Muslim scout troops across the nation. And actually, this particular patch was awarded by the National Islamic Committee on Scouting, and Brother Syed Naqvi, as the chairman of the National Islamic Committee on Scouting, was part of the special ceremony at the 50th annual ISNA convention, in which this was given to Imam Majid, who is the current president of ISNA, in recognition of the strong relationship over the years in which National Islamic Committee of Scouting has been the interlocutor between BSA and ISNA and other national Muslim organizations in terms of furthering the scouting program in Muslim communities. So this is a patch celebrating that. Boy Scouts are very famous for making patches, and this is sort of a recognition of that.
And next ISNA convention is going to be land of the Dearborn, Michigan, where the Chuck was started the scouting.
Yeah, right.
So this is more appropriate to
launch this
something this project
the
over
legacy
there.
project for Chuck Alawan. Yes,
that's good. And what about that patch?
Oh, okay. This is another patch. We are fortunate this year, and even though it took place in part during the month of Ramadan, BSA National, Boy Scouts of America National, has finally gotten a major national, I would call international campground of thousands of acres in West Virginia. And they were able to open what's called the Summit at Bechtel for camping this past summer. And I had the honor to participate in that and to help to organize with Brother Syed and other members of the National Islamic Committee of Scouting a support program in terms of a musalla, place of prayer, etc., halal foods and iftars for the scouts that had come from around the country and also from various parts of the Muslim world.
And Imam Majid came all the way to have the Friday congregation.
Yes, he did, and that was recognized by the BSA, Boy Scouts of America national leadership that was present at the summit. So this is a sort of a patch commemorating that day, and for all those scouts who participated and adult leaders that were there, recognizing their participation in keeping their duty to God and doing so in a manner in which they can show this to others and say this is where we're part of. We look forward to participating in future jamborees, inshallah, both at the international level and at the national level, and providing ways in which the Muslim scouts that come to these programs can affect and affirm their religious beliefs and practices, being that a scout is reverent and a scout's first duty, as the scout oath says, is to God.
You was there the day when the annual meeting, when the Council of Shia Ulama came and the Ulama of Isna signed the agreement for the unity. What a wonderful project was.
Yes, that was. Yes. That was a wonderful idea. That was actually out of the Islamic Center of America, which Chuck Aliwan is the progenitor of. Yes. And that was a wonderful milestone in the history of Muslim intra-Muslim relations here in the United States between the members of the Sunni and Shia communities.
I say thank you very much, and like any Boy Scouts meeting, and this dedicated to my brother Chuck Alawan, and we are tributing this hour to him. So I will go for the tradition Boy Scouts closing, the Scout Master minute, and I think the best Scout Master is Brother Dawood Asad.
Yes, I mean.
So why not we ask him for the closing, and before you make dua, make him proper Scout Master.
Yes, at the end of every weekly Boy Scout meeting or Cub Scout meeting, there is what's known as a Scout Master's Minute, where the Scout Master shares some wisdom with the community members and all the scouts and adults that are present. So, inshallah, in recognition of that, we would like to ask a Cub Pack Master from the 1960s and 70s in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and a founding member of the National Islamic Committee on Scouting, Dr. Dawood Asad, to give us the Scout Master's Minute. But before doing that, I have to affirm that he is indeed a Scout Master. So we're going to give him this hat in recognition of that, the National Islamic Committee on Scouting hat, and inshallah he will lead us in the closing moments.
وقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به. واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا. واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا. أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. May Allah bless this gathering, and may Allah enable us to do what is required from us to do, because if it wasn't for Him, we cannot do anything. It is only Mashi'atullah subhanahu wa ta'ala we can do something. We ask Allah to enable us to do what we have spoken today, and we ask you, God said, if you call upon me, we will answer your prayers. And now we are calling on you to make this movement and make Muslim youth get together, unite together, inshallah, and to serve this, our noble religion of Islam and Muslims in this country and abroad. Assalamu wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Dear viewer, your host Ehtesham Naqvi like to say with this, please remember every Wednesday from 9 to 10 we're bringing in different programs, and we are looking forward to have you on the live participation, inshallah. And we pray that all the Muslims unite together, and whatever is happening, wherever is happening, should be stopped. And as a big project of the Boy Scouts, there's Messenger of Peace. Every scout is ambassador of peace. And as an ambassador, I will say Allah Hafiz, and see you next Wednesday 9 to 10. But please remember to become the member of the Al Mahdi TV. $1 a day is not big amount. 365 or any amount, any project, you can participate by donating the camera, by donating the other equipment of the media. We appreciate, because we wanted to bring community close together. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
His relatives come down. He went down, and after 15 minutes, he came with his aunt, and I accepted him. But our pack was always getting rewards for cleanliness, for training, for character, and for games. I never forget those pack meetings there. When we have those. What do you call it? That cars racing. And so
Pinewood Derby.
Yeah. They were looking for. Oh, I remember that. But I have 16 mothers, and these 16 mothers, they were really, really, really very dedicated in here. So that the projects they make. Also, what helped me out in here, I'm an engineer. I was working as a draftsman at that time. So in my work, I used to give them some drawings, what I like for him to see, and everybody come with his gift for his mother, a basket made of those Pepsi sticks there, or doing some kind of wool things, and so many things, and which makes the family, like Brother Safa said, come together and build that integrity, that unity, that love that Islam has.
Brother Dawood, one question most of the time the people, our Muslim brothers, ask this question. This is a Christian organization, why you people are getting involved? Do you have any answer for that?
Why involved?
Yeah.
Well, because our religion says, people of the book, we so-called Christians and Jews, people of the book, and then now, as you know, Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, it was mentioned actually, Moses was mentioned more than any prophet in the Quran, and Jesus was the second. Muhammad was mentioned very few people. So we have a good chapter about the Surah Maryam in the Quran, and so actually these people don't understand that this religion is a continuation of the previous religions. We have Judaism, we have Christianity, and then we have Islam. So we are.
But I'm talking about the scouting. I personally. Maybe I will ask the question from you also, then I can.
Just to add to what Dr. Dawood said, the Baden-Powell, the originator of modern scouting movement, was very clear. Scouting was not a Christian movement. In fact, in some of the history of the movement, there was a group that broke away from the Scouts because of his insistence on maintaining Scouting as an international brotherhood of people from different faith communities. In fact, in some of the original jamborees that had taken place in Brownsea Island, which was the island in which he had trained the first set of original Scouts in the early 1900s, he insisted that different religious communities come, including Hindu and Muslim, and do their religious rituals as part of the program.
Right.
Because a scout
best place for interfaith dialogue and dawah.
Exactly.
The 12th point of the Scout law is a scout is reverent. A scout, according to the Boy Scouts of America oath and pledge, and this is international through the world's wide scouting organizations, is to affirm a belief in God.
Exactly.
Whatever God you affirm that belief in is fine. And you're encouraged to exemplify that by being reverent. So for those who say that Scouting is a Christian organization, a Boy Scouts of America Christian organization, I think that they have not had the chance to participate in the Scouting program.
That's true.
And to find in that program the opportunity, once again, not only to practice one's faith proudly, but also to share it with others and therefore enrich the understanding, mutual understanding, and build bridges of awareness, and strengthening ties among the different faith communities through this joint living together in the outside and learning to trust one another. Sometimes even in life and death situations, as you go on hikes or something like that, obviously injuries can happen and so on and so forth, and you put your health and your well-being in the hands of another one, and together this strengthens the relationship that exists between people.
And also don't forget that I remember myself when I came from Pakistan, as you know, I was born in Jerusalem, but I lived in a village called Deir Yassin, which is about the suburb of Jerusalem. I remember myself when I was young, we do have scouting, and we used to go, like Brother Safa said, we go hiking and we go games and so forth. So we do have, in most of our Arab countries, they have scouting. So it's not only Christian. I don't know why this concept has been instilled in the people that surround us.
Well, I usually answer this way, that I was looking in the Quran, and I found that all the scout law, scout honor is to be 12 points.
Yes.
Everything is in the Quran. So I gave the answer to those people who said he's a large bird and power. I say, yes, he was smart because he read the Quran.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, there's some historic truth to that. A lot of the scouting program historically was developed, Baden Powell admits this in his various writings, as a result of his observation during his time as serving as a British general in Africa of the various ways in which various of the African tribes and communities that actually he was at war with, in particular during the Boer Wars, but the ways in which they instilled character in their young people. Many of those tribes were actually Muslim tribes.
Right.
So a lot of what he observed and had absorbed and reappropriated, if we can say, and developed into the modern scouting program as we know it, he developed from his observations and interactions with people of Muslim tribal backgrounds in the African setting.
Could you repeat to our viewers your 12-point scout honors to be trustworthy?
Yeah, scout is honest, trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful.
And the last one is reverence.
And reverence.
Why isn't the last in the reverence?
Well, they say they save the best for last, right? But it actually ties all the others together. I think if you do all of those 11 points of the scout law, if you're trustworthy and if you're honest and if you're friendly and courteous and kind and helpful, if you do all of those things, you cannot help but be reverent. Because reverence in Islam is, I think we have the concept in the Quran, and Dr. Dawud can correct me, Hablu min Allah, or the cable which connects us to Allah, is conditioned by how Hablu min an-nas, how we interact and deal with one another. I know I'm good with God if I'm good with people.
Right.
And I know I'm bad with God if I'm bad with my relations with people.
That's right.
So I think these two in Islam are very much interlinked together. And so if we do all these things, we cannot help but be reverent towards God.
Yeah, also, Brother Safa, I remember you invited me one time to compare the 12th commandment or 10th commandment, and they were exactly, we say the commandment of the Christians, the same we have equivalent to the Quran, and one by one it's exactly the same. So I mean, as I said, Islam is just a continuation of the religion. It's not
the
like
Ten Commandments hike is one of the best interfaith program, because could you explain a little bit how it works for them?
Yeah, basically the members of the different faith communities will spend a day walking between different houses of worship in a locality. We did this in the Central Jersey area, and when they come to a particular house of worship, they will enter the house of worship respectfully, be given a little bit of information about the religious denomination or religion that is present in that house of worship and worships there, and one of the faith leaders or religious leaders of that community would then provide information regarding one of the 10 commandments from their religious tradition. So it's a good opportunity for us to walk together in faith from different faith communities, to see the inner workings, in a sense, or get a glimpse of the inner workings of different faith communities, and also to hear the teachings regarding the Ten Commandments, and it was a wonderful way to bridge the differences between people, and I think it create an understanding that we have much more in common than we have different.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If we just concentrate on the community things that's between us, we'll not have time.
We'll talk about after the break, inshallah. Dear viewer, we was talking about scouting and the Muslim community, and this program is a tribute to Khalil Alawan Chak, who passed last Wednesday. And we will going to resume after the break, and we will talk with Brother Safed about scouting, how to promote the scouting in the Muslim community, because since we are tributing and dedicating this hour to Chak, so we wanted to see the life of the Chak, how he was involved in the community for unity and the integrity, the peace, interfaith, and determined to his own faith. Time to break, and we'll meet you right after break.